Matthew, you have been singular in your focus, warning of the overspending. Has Nicola slashed enough, or does the altar of Milton Friedman cry out for more fresh blood?
Well, I think first thing is she will spend more than any finance minister in New Zealand's history. She will tax more than any finance minister in New Zealand's history, and she'll borrow an ample amount. That
I think that one of the things that stands out to me most and more is she will tax more. You know, there is this narrative about the left being tax happy, yet Matthew Hooton is saying we will find out tomorrow that Nicola Willis is taxing this country more than any minister of finance in history. Now, whether he's proven true or not, I guess time will tell. But if that comes out, that's why you need to be here at 2:00 tomorrow afternoon to hear Craig. Because if that comes out to be the case, we figured out last time they did this, they borrowed more than 5 out of 6 of Grant Robertson's budgets. If they're going to tax more as well, Chewie, you said something like this last night, that these guys are spinning so much shit, but people are believing it. It's just going to be a job for us for the next 14 months to make sure people hear and understand what actually happens tomorrow, not what they want the narrative to be of what happens tomorrow.
Well, be right up there with Grant Robertson, Muldoon, or Bill English at his worst. So let's just understand that it's not that the total amount the government's going to spend is declining. On the construction issue, the problem there is not that they cut the funding so much as they got rid of the pipeline. Now they're trying to build a new one, and everyone left. It wasn't that the government cut the money; it was that they stopped the project. Anyway,
no, the government cut the money. Trust me.
So what we've got is a government that's going to spend more than ever, tax more than ever, and borrow as much as the worst, and a decision just simply has to get made. Are we going to cut into the welfare state, particularly superannuation and tertiary healthcare? If yes, okay, that's the approach we're going. And I think the country could decide, okay, that's the way we're going, and a leader could sell that, and it could work. Or we're going to have to raise tens of billions of dollars of tax.
Amen.
And we're going to need a leader who can sell that, not the rubbish we heard.
So that basically, remember, Matthew was sort of just stating the facts. What's going to happen tomorrow is they're either going to cut more or they're going to try and find more revenue from taxing more. Now, of those two options, we know what they're going to do. So Hooton's basically saying tomorrow they're going to cut more.
Heard from Chris Hipkins, I'm sorry to say, because I love to speak today, you just can't. The maths is the maths. And we've been warned about this since the baby boomers failed to have enough kids.
Yep.
We knew what 2030 would mean. Michael Cullen, and before him, Winston Peters, Bill Birch, and Ruth Richardson had got us in a position where we were meant to have 20% of GDP or thereabouts in the bank by 20.
This is terrifying. So the plan from Cullen in the first decade of this was to have in the bank 20% of GDP. Do you know how much we've got? Hooton's going to tell you. So remember, it should be plus 20%.
2030. Instead, we're going to reach 2030, something like 30% in the red. So we're 50% roughly, I mean, these numbers aren't exactly right, 50, but a very large amount of GDP, coming up to 50% of GDP, in the wrong direction from where we were supposed to if Michael Cullen's plan had been continued with. And this is a serious problem, and there is no point people thinking that cutting more tea room people in Wellington makes a difference.
Follow-up question. There is a rumour that a former right-wing female politician sent Nicola Willis and Brooke Van Velden a bouquet of flowers after announcing the pay parity kneecapping. Can you confirm, was that former right-wing female politician Ruth Richardson?
I don't know anything about a bouquet of flowers.
I can confirm.
Did the flowers wither as soon as they...
I think Ruth's pretty critical of the current finance minister for the overspending.
I actually don't know whether that's a joke or not, but if that's the truth, Ruth Richardson sent Brooke Van Velden a bouquet for cancelling pay parity for hundreds of thousands of women. That's and remember, if that's the case, we're comparing Nicola Willis to Ruth Richardson. She's Ruth Richardson 2.0, the mother of all budgets. And that's if that's the case. And I mean, JT said, yes, I can confirm. So, and that means that she is excited that hundreds of thousands of women have just lost pay parity. And many of those ones won't be able to apply for it again because of the new criteria to reach parity. Chewie.
Yeah. Ruth Richardson left scars on this country that still exist. Ruth Richardson is currently involved with Atlas. Nicola Willis has been involved with the New Zealand Initiative at Atlas. So, crazy us drawing straight lines between things. I find Matthew Hooton a really interesting dude.
Because you agree with what he said, don't you?
There is stuff that I am sure I am vehemently opposite him on. But I can appreciate the position that he has and what he's saying. He is identifying key things that many people, including me, have said. This is one of the reasons why I will scream until the heat death of the universe that National has done more economic damage to this country than any other issue in our history. National got rid of our first super fund that had cost trillions of dollars.
Thanks, Muldoon.
They took an axe to the Cullen Fund. And again, this is a multi-person, multi-government fucking idea from looking at a graph and looking at birth rates and going, shit, if we want the superannuation scheme to keep going, we need to get ahead of the drop in population, the drop in birth rate. Okay, so people were looking at it and going, well, we've identified the problem. And then every time National has got to power and has been passed this big kitty of money, they've gone, shit, this would really solve some more immediate problems. And we'll just worry about the other stuff down the line. Those little things, those small tax increases, or just letting tax do its job to build that fund up, we wouldn't be having debates about whether we have to work until our mid-70s like they're trying to soft sell at the moment. Personally, I think if they try to move the retirement age, we take a book out of the French big book of what we do when the government fucks with us.